Shalom, Yashala, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Yashar Allah. Kol Holoyim La Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Bahasham Salak. Bahasham Harakako. For blessing our elders with the spirit of truth so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwaf. It's keeping the faith in the works. Y'all keep at it. It's your brother Abaya coming at you with more precepts. This is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of Yahweh is. Understand what the will of Yahweh is and walk in wisdom. All right. Now the Lord tells us that He would put a spirit of division on the earth, and that division would ultimately lead to, physical altercations throughout the land. And we're seeing pieces being put in place in order to ensure that that happens, whether or not the people that are actually moving understand that this is the Lord's doing or not. Either way it goes, this is the Lord's doing. Right? The thing that's in the news as of late is the refugees that's coming from South Africa. I really ain't even going to speak too much on this because I'm almost certain it's going to be a sensitive topic to the ears of the YouTube individuals. So I try to keep this straight and to the point and as easy on the ears as I can. So I'm gonna let this video play. I'll be back.
Welcome to the United States of America. We respect what you have had to deal with these last few years. We respect the long tradition of your people.
That right there. The long tradition of your people. If you don't know that tradition, let's take a walk down memory lane.
Apartheid was a system of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination implemented by the South African government from 1948 to 1994. Rooted in colonial practices, apartheid divided the nation into racial categories: white, black, colored, and Indian. Under this regime, the white minority, which held political and economic power, oppressed the black majority and other racial groups. Apartheid laws dictated every aspect of life. Black South Africans were forced to live in separate areas called homelands, or townships, often far from economic hubs. They were denied access to quality education, healthcare, and jobs. Public facilities, transportation, and even beaches were segregated. The infamous pass laws required black citizens to carry identification to justify their presence in white-dominated areas, making movement highly restricted. Resistance to apartheid was fierce. Organizations like the African National Congress, ANC, led by figures such as Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu, mobilized against the regime through protests, strikes, and international advocacy. In response, the government used brutal force, including arrests, torture, and massacres like the Sharpeville Massacre in
1960. Let's see what that's about.
The Sharpeville Massacre was an incident in the black township of Sharpeville, near Vereeniging, South Africa, in which police fired on a crowd of black people, killing or wounding at least 250 people. The Pan-African Congress, a splinter group of the African National Congress, created in 1959, organized a countrywide demonstration for March 21st, 1960, for the abolition of South Africa's pass laws. Participants were instructed to surrender their reference books or passes and invite arrest. Some 20,000 blacks gathered near a police station at Sharpeville, located about 30 miles or 50 kilometers south of Johannesburg. After some demonstrators, according to police, allegedly, began summoning police officers in their armored cars, the officers fired on them with submachine guns. About 67 blacks were killed and more than 186 wounded, some 50 women and children being among the victims. A state of emergency was declared in South Africa, with more than 11,000 people being detained, and the African Congress and African National Congress were outlawed. Reports of the incident have focused international criticism on South Africa's apartheid policy. Following the dismantling of apartheid, South African President Nelson Mandela chose Sharpeville as the site at which, on December 10th, 1996, he signed into law the country's new constitution.
And what you have accomplished over the years?
What did they accomplish over the years? We just saw. Right? That's the truth of that matter. But of course, Esau, Edom, hates their past. They love to try to keep it in the dark. But unfortunately for them, we're not living in that time of darkness. We're living in the time of light. We're living in the time of revelation. Right? Now, actually, let me go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And let me see. Verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. Right? Esau, Edom, man. Esau, Edom. More so speaking about the daughter of Babylon, but Esau, Edom in a whole, as a whole, Esau, Edom, period. It's the time of exposure, right? The son of perdition, the damn devil, right? The Lord is getting ready to do away with Esau, Edom. And the Lord allowing these individuals to come into the melting pot, which is called the daughter of Babylon, which is America, is really the Lord bringing these individuals into their last days. All right? We see the signs happening. We go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, and verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right? So we seeing the times. We know what time it is. And we understand that the Lord is getting ready to bam the daughter of Babylon up. Right? So these individuals coming into the grounds of future destruction is just testament that the Lord really got a problem. He really has an issue with Esau, Edom, man. Right? Go to the book of Joel, chapter 3. And verse 1, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, and for my heritage, right? For my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. All right, so because of what these individuals have done to the Lord's people, the Lord is getting, first off, the Lord is putting an extremely proud spirit on these devils, right? Let me go to Obadiah. Verse 3, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So the Lord put an extra proud spirit in these individuals, especially in these last days, right? And scripture tells us that pride goeth before a great fall, right? It goes before destruction, right? So we see the Lord setting these individuals up to be brought down. Right, so I know a lot of people may look at this and, get mad because they're kicking out all of the different nations from the daughter of Babylon, but, making a special exemption for these individuals. All right? But just understand why the Lord is allowing these people to come into this place.
Welcome to the United States of America.
The wildest part about the white South Africans coming to the United States is the fact that the reason why Elon Musk even said in the first place that there's a genocide happening against them is because of a land law. Listen to the caucasity. In 1913, when the British colonized South Africa, they passed legislation that restricted the property rights of the country's black majority. The Natives Land Act left the vast majority of the land under the control of the white minority and set the foundation for the forced removal of black people to poor homelands and townships in the intervening decades until the end of apartheid 3 decades ago. In 2017, a government report said that of the farmland that was in the hands of private individuals, 72% was white-owned. Mind you, they only made up 7.3% of the population. So let me get...
That's crazy. Right? That's crazy. So the trickle-down effects of what happened during apartheid is the same story all over the world. Right? And that's why the Lord is doing what he's doing. He's moving how he's moving, because the Lord is setting Esau, Edom up for destruction.
Straight, white people only make up 7.3% of the South African population, and they own 72% of the farmland because of a law that was created in 1913 by British colonizers. And in order to fix this, the South African president just signed into law a land seizure law, which is basically a law similar to the eminent domain laws here in the United States, where the government can take land and use it for the public good. And by...
So that's why they over here. That's the quote-unquote genocide, because the so-called black individuals in South Africa were basically getting their land back. And the so-called white South Africans were refusing to give up their land, even though legislation was passed to up that land. So, same thing over here. If you ever wonder why reparations get laughed at in the daughter of Babylon, well, there you have it.
Public good and public use, think like public transportation or highways. Mind you, the law in black and white says that the land that they're trying to come after to redistribute it includes the property that's not being used, and there's no intention to either develop or make money from it, or when it poses a risk to people. President's spokesperson said that the law may not expropriate property arbitrarily or for a purpose other than in the public interest. So literally one of 3 things is happening. 1, either Elon Musk doesn't know what a fucking genocide really is. 2, Elon Musk does understand what a genocide is and understands how catastrophic it is for the people experiencing it, so much so that he's now weaponizing it as a term to be able to gain sympathy for the white South Africans coming to the United States in order for us to justify us using our public dollars, taxpayer dollars, to be able to give them motherfucking stimulus checks when they don't fucking deserve it. Because they're not experiencing genocide. Or 3, white fragility is so fucking fragile that white people really feel that they're experiencing a fucking genocide when land that they're not even using is about to be taken by the government and redistributed for the public good in the entire country. And I'm gonna be honest with you and say there's nobody in the world with a rational mind that doesn't think that it's not 2 and 3. And by the way, Elon, if you really think that eminent domain is genocide threshold worthy, then you should really be loud as fuck on these streets for reparations for black people in the United States. Because
that's crazy.
Eminent domain in the United States was literally used to create highways and interstates that bulldoze black communities in order to separate black communities from white communities. Because between 1949 and 1973, 2,532 projects were carried out in 992 cities that displaced 1 million people, 2/3 of them African American. That made blacks 5 times more likely to be displaced than they should have been. It's dramatically widened the wealth gap. So much so that in 2019, the median wealth of black households in the United States was $24,100 compared to a whopping $189,000 for white households.
There you have it. Romans chapter 12 and verse 19. Dearly beloved, well, actually, Romans 12:19. Let me go. Salat 1 second. Romans chapter 12 and verse 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith Yahweh. Right? Vengeance is the Lord's. And we see that vengeance unfolding as we speak. This devil is, highly concerned. Don't get it twisted. He may come on TV like he cool, calm, and collected, but nah, he's highly concerned about what's going on this earth, about the rise in intellect of the Most High's people, about how the world is drastically changing, right? He's concerned. Now, true enough, them higher ups, the 1% individuals that really run this world, they not too tough concerned as it pertains to how the world is moving, because they got something called Ordo Archaeo. A lot of this stuff is moving and happening because they making it happen. But they don't understand man's goings out of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? Right? The Lord is in control, man. So everything that's happening, vengeance is mine. I will repay. I will repay, saith Yahweh. So I ain't with that, man. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Ratazah. These precepts in this video were edifying. Kol Haloyim La Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Harakakodash Shalom Yashar Allah.